Even if we are lucky and we can reconstruct the vases as much as we can, we will never, ever be able to reconstruct anything on the history of these objects.
Hey, I'm Maeve Brennan. I'm an artist and filmmaker based in London.
Hi Maeve.
Hi Marie.
I'm happy to host you. We are going to talk about your film An Excavation. We are sat here in the Archaeology Museum in Frankfurt, and archaeology is always related to excavations and excavation sites. I wanted to ask you if you could talk us through the title and how you came to make the film.
I guess archaeology is kind of quite a central thread in my work, and I've always looked to archaeological practices and kind of material practices more widely. I think I'm interested in the way that material disciplines offer the opportunity to kind of make sense of the world through something tangible. So I've worked with geologists and archaeologists frequently in the past. This excavation is kind of a two-layered excavation in the sense that there are these objects that we see in the film that were looted from the south of Italy, so they were stolen from tombs, and these objects then entered the illicit market, and in 2014 they were discovered in a free port in Geneva, and they were sent to Christos Tsirogiannis and Vinny Noskov, who feature in the film, for an investigation. So there's this kind of new excavation taking place where they're trying to unearth the narratives and the kind of direction that these objects have taken.
You are filming a process where the two archaeologists are puzzling together broken pieces of a vase. And I was wondering if you could elaborate a bit why you chose on filming this part of the whole forensic archaeologist's work and not start from another point.
And this particular film, I wanted to document quite a specific investigation. And Christos was going to be kind of unpacking these objects for the first time. It was going to be often the first time that these objects had been seen since they were looted. And I wanted to document that kind of process. So they received these crates of Apulian fragmented vases, and both Christos and Vinny Noskov, who was the director of the museum where the film is shot, engaged in this puzzling process. And that was fascinating to me and something I wanted to be at the center of the film, because it felt kind of analogous to the work that was going on more broadly, which is them kind of trying to piece together fragments of a narrative that has been somewhat broken by a process of destruction, which comes from the looting itself. But the looting obviously only happens because there's a demand for these objects. So trying to draw attention to the bigger structures and powers at play in that narrative.
What we are doing here is not an excavation as people usually know it, as unfortunately we are not discovering these objects after they have been safely in the earth for 2,500 years. But it's a different kind of excavation, looking on the forensics of a crime already committed. And then Christie's.
Yeah, that's ironic.
South Kensington. Antiquities Trade Gazette, 25th of August 1990. Useful.
I've been reading into different sorts of repair, and I've came across this quote by Kader Attia also in the last Berlin Biennial, where he's talking about repair being a sort of like resistance that can happen in many ways. And I feel like this resistance is also really visible in your work and also in Christos's work. And I was wondering if there is also ways that this sort of resistance is fraying out from your collaboration on a filmic level.
Mm. Yes, I mean, I suppose this is actually part of a bigger body of work, which is called The Goods. And, you know, Christos is actively engaging in kind of these cases that are coming up kind of all the time of objects that he identifies in museums and auction houses and in private collections that he matches with a kind of image archive which was generated from confiscated images from convicted dealers. So he uses these images to kind of identify objects that are illicit and then initiates their repatriation. And we have produced an online database called the Illicit Antiquities Network, which displays 50 of these cases and draws a web, a kind of map that ties together all of the figures and institutions involved, from looters to smugglers to middlemen, all the way up to museums. And that, I think, is kind of a form of resistance in the sense that it draws our attention to those involved in a network that otherwise kind of goes about its business without being kind of seen.
Mm-hmm. There is also this very nice quote in the beginning of the film where Christos talks about being interested in detective movies. And when I was rewatching your work, I also felt like the use of sound is also playing into this moment of suspension.
I think there's something very interesting in kind of looking at these forms of work and this kind of very specific material process, but also knowing at the same time that this links to kind of some of the biggest institutions in the world, and some of the richest people and most powerful people are involved in this network. So I think that that's a kind of multiple set of layers that is going on all at once as you're watching the film. Mm-hmm. There was also this kind of interest for me, which was that these objects have passed through different hands, and there is a focus on kind of hands and objects and these kinds of cut frames where you just see the hands holding these shards. And I think it was very fascinating for me that these objects were last kind of held by those in the illicit network who had looted them, or kind of the dealers who were kind of storing them ready for sale in the market. And prior to that, the last people that had touched them were the makers 2,500 years ago. So I think it was really trying to bring something of that sort of tactile experience of history and layered timeframes, which I feel is possible through a kind of archaeological process. And I think that's something that I try to do in all my films.
These fragments are really fantastic, small pieces of handicraft. So you just feel so close to the original people who did that when you sit with it. You also feel a little bit uncomfortable working with material which has this tainted history. You don't know who has touched it, what has been done with it. And then there is, of course, the excitement about what if the objects could tell the story, how they were explored and what happened. That would be really giving us a lot of knowledge which we would like to have.
I want to go on and ask you also about your materiality, especially that you told me that you worked with 16 millimeters, which was a first for you. Could you walk us through why you chose 16 millimeters and how it worked for this film?
There was a certain kind of materiality that any digital shooting I'd done with him previously, I felt it wasn't coming across. And there's also a very interesting relationship between the Illicit Antiquities Network and the history of photography. And I've displayed other elements of this in previous exhibitions. So for instance, the advent of the Polaroid offered a whole new kind of possibility for illicit transactions, because you had this unique single photograph that showed that you had been with this object, and those Polaroids would be passed from hand to hand. And this is also spoken about in the film. So I think there's already this relationship to the photographic process itself, and I wanted to bring that into the work.
So Maeve, another thing that I wanted to ask you about was your interest in ground, in excavations, in objects. Is there, because I see that there is a strain going through all of your practice, and I wanted to ask you if you could elaborate a little bit more on what's the interest in that for you?
Yeah, this is, it's interesting because I've been thinking about this more recently, because I was also doing another project which was looking more at geology, and I was kind of drawing together that project with this and thinking that everything is looking at the ground or the underground or the subterranean. And I mean this in quite an open way, in the sense that it can be both the physical ground, so geological layers and their constitution and how we extract them in order to produce energy, but also archaeological grounds and the layers of civilization that we excavate in order to better understand ourselves. And it was interesting in this film in particular because there is obviously this kind of presence of the subject matter of the underworld as, you know, the space of death, and this kind of proximity of the underworld, both as this kind of site of death and also the criminal underworld, which overlaps in an excavation. So this was just something that I realized was tying together various sort of strands in my work, and it's something I've been thinking about a lot. I've been particularly inspired by a book by Ariella Azoulay called Potential History: Unlearning Imperialism. And in it she says that looting is actually the infrastructure of museums. And I think people are always surprised that this is something that continues. I mean, museums are much more diligent now, but these kind of mainstream auction houses are still very much selling objects that are unprovenanced or have provenances that are clearly faked. And this is an ongoing illicit activity, and that's why I'm kind of drawing attention to it.